Hey, g'day guys, I was just going to do a bit of a tour, open up all the drawers on my toolboxes. That one, the big one, I got not long ago, but this one I've had for a while. This started off life in the garage. Just got a bit frustrating with walking back and forward from the garage to the shed to go and get tools all the time, so ended up putting it in here. And then I had that pegboard there, it's looking a bit empty, but I had a few tools on that, and then there was just tools spread out everywhere in the in this shed, and it just got frustrating. Like, you'd be in the garage working on the car, and you got to keep walking back and forwards. I had little knickknacks and stuff and things like that spread around here, and you'd come back here for a bolt and then come back up for a washer, and it was just getting out of hand. So I decided to get that big toolbox, put everything in it, and that way when we were working on the cars, I put some big wheels on it and those rubber ramps from Bunnings just to clear the shed, and now you can wheel it down the side of the house and out into the garage, so it's a bit easier. But that's all the sockets and stuff that I got. That's one big tray. That's just from Super Cheap Auto. That's just, let's see if you need to take that out, that comes out. They're all your little bits for, you probably tell I'm a big fan of Azito stuff. For what I use it for, it does the job, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg, so not too bad. I'm pretty rough on tools, so yeah, it's good not having to baby them too much. Doesn't matter if you get full of grease or you drop them or anything like that. Pliers, heaps of pens, Allen key screwdrivers, just little ones. Them I've had for a long time. But these are the ones I mainly use. They're pretty good. They work pretty good. They don't strip out like Chinese Allen keys and stuff like hex head bolts. My mates, I got a they're the Imperial. I got a same metric set of them, but my mates borrowing them at the moment. Screwdrivers. So yeah, electrical stuff. Some flare nut spanners that are in the screwdriver section because I couldn't find a section it wouldn't fit in there. Torque wrench, that one, but there's just odds and ends and tape, and Milwaukee 3/8 thing. That's pretty handy. But since I've had that, I haven't really used that too much. I should see what's got more torque. I can't remember what this is. Nah, doesn't say. I have to look it up. But I mean, that's pretty handy, but it's pretty heavy. Whereas this is with the battery, you can get a smaller battery for this one, and it'll be a lot lighter than that one. That's that. I've got a bit of, that's handy for the angle grinder, cutting metal and stuff, and a dust mask, whatever you want to call it. Heaps of different gloves. A bit of grease for the jet ski, for the bearings. Oh yeah, that's a handy thing. That's one of those things you clip onto your radiator when you're putting new water in, and it lets it bubble up without making a mess, and you can keep topping it up, and if you put too much in, you just lock it off, take it away, and it yeah, keeps it nice and clean. That's not too bad. That's all drill bits, hole saws, spare drill bits, right angle bit of clean up wheels. That's all the bits for the Azito impact drill. Don't buy them, they're crap. I should actually throw them out. They're like cheese. Use them once and they strip bolts out and stuff. These Kango ones are much stronger. Very good, those ones. I got this little grease gun. That's for doing the bearing buddies on the jet ski, but it's just such a bastard to prime with grease. It's just, you spend more time pumping it, nothing coming out, and you get a few pumps, and yeah, it's just a pain. What's that for? Oh, I got a wagon, VF wagon, and we used to have a VF Redline Series 2 as well, so that was handy for doing things on that. So I do all the servicing, and that's the what's the name, for the Tirana, which is good for getting like valve clearances and stuff like that if you're into it. What's that? Work light, big banger, tyre thing. Yeah, not much in there. Don't really go in that bottom drawer too much. And this one, this is the sort of the party happens over here. This is all for electrical stuff, and I think these are little tiny socket set. They're pretty handy for little things. That's handy because I fly those RC aeroplanes. This thing's really good for doing the battery plugs on them. They're all electric, not petrol ones. This thing's pretty cool. It's just I don't know, a multimeter, and it just stopped working. So I went to Super Cheap, and I saw in this thing. So you can clamp, it's just got a clamp so you can see amps, how many amps is going through your wiring, which is pretty handy. But it's also a multimeter, so it's kind of a two-in-one. Not very expensive, I think it's only about $60 or something. So yeah, that's pretty handy. Got a gas soldering iron. That leaks, so you pretty much have to fill it up every time you want to use it. So that's why I keep the cartridges out, but I think they're leaking from the cartridge, not when it's in the gun. So yeah, that's these are pretty cool. These are from J-Car, little 5.5 mil little whole set of little wrenches and stuff. So that's pretty cool. This is the same as a soldering iron, handy, but you got to charge it. You got to think about it before you use it because you got to charge it. It's one of those you press it and spin it, and it's got a gyro in it, and it keeps tightening or loosening whichever way you're going. Different torque settings. Handy, but like I said, hardly use it. Oh, that's my laser. Got a strong laser. Little puffer, blow dust away. Demagnetizer, a bit of tape. Cutting drawer. That's exactly what it is. I had to buy this the other week because some of the doors in our house are rubbing on the door frame. So yeah, bought that, and it seemed to fix it. Just got to repaint them now. Even though we just had the house painted, I've got to redo it again. What's that? That shouldn't be there. It's putting me off. That's cutting. That's all my measuring stuff. Temperature, feeler gauges, tire pressure, contour gauge. That's on. That shouldn't be on. Yeah, that's the box for that. A few things. Little angle reader thing. Heaps of different glues and lubrication and yeah, whatever you need there. Dremel. And the hammer's in there, but yeah, the main thing's a Dremel with all its bits and pieces. That's a good drawer, pretty handy drawer. Trim tools, but it's got a bit of everything. Oh, I've got two of these. There you go. Yeah, so mirrors and magnets and scrapers and all sorts of stuff. We'll leave that on. Oh no, what's in here? Oh yeah, so that's got. When I did the stereo in the Toronto, I bought heaps of those ferrules to put on the ends of the wires. Same with that. That was to do all the battery clamps and you know, for all the earth points and stuff like that. These are pretty handy. They're drill a hole, screw them in, and then you're left with a metric thread at the end of it. Nutserts, heaps of different ones of them. They're good. Anderson plugs. A bit of bolt assortment, nuts and bolts and different stuff. Most of it's all stainless, I think. That's all just from AliExpress, but they're pretty decent things. Oh, when we did the Toronto used to have a carburetor on it, and it was just a pain in the bum to tune all the time. So we changed it over to a Holly Sniper EFI system. So it still looks like it's got a carby on it, but it's all fuel injected. So we had to run new fuel line to the Sniper and then back again. You need a return line. So we needed a heap of yeah, I probably bought too many, but at least we had the size we needed. Electrical connectors, another set of Allen keys down there, spare ones, bit of wiring, some big rulers, some 1 meter metal rulers and stuff. Dial indicator, more gloves, earplugs, pop rivets, stapler, hole punch, nibbling tool, cutting metal and stuff. Only thin metal, can't do too much with it. That's a you know, projects a level if you're doing hanging pictures or whatever. That's that's the measure tape. laser measure tape, stud finder, dB meter. Had to use that for the aeroplanes as well, because we had noise restriction rules where I used to fly, so planes could only be a certain volume level. That was for the planes as well. I don't think this even works anymore. It's for measuring wind. That's for pumping up your tyres, test light. And I got this the other day, same time I got that multimeter, and yeah, you probably don't need that for 99% of the cars out there anymore, but the Toronto still have to adjust the timing on. Just check it at least. And that's another measure tape, electric measure tape. Heaps of heat shrink. Actually, this heat shrink I got from AliExpress for bugger all. I think all of that, and I've used some, was about $20. And it's a 4:1 ratio, so it shrinks 4 times. You think that's too big, but it'll shrink 4 times smaller than what it is. And it's got hot glue on the inside of it, so when you do, you can't see it, but when you do shrink it, you press it down and it seals it. Apparently it's marine grade. I didn't know that was the difference, but yeah, they're pretty handy. Really good heat shrink. And there's some big clear ones back there. A couple of red ones when I used to make my battery packs. Offcuts. It's like a soldering iron, but it's more of a hot knife cutter kind of thing. Zip ties. Any type and size of zip tie you want, all there. And this was all from AliExpress as well. So plastic conduit wire wrap. That stuff I had to buy because I needed to match the stuff that's on my scooter. But my favourite stuff is probably that stuff. It's more of a factory looking. It's pretty much what the Commodore's got in it. Like a fabric. That stuff's pretty cool too. Nylon. Yeah, but there's heaps of it. All different sizes I got when we were doing the car up. But we haven't touched it since. Seen that. Crimps. That's the crimper for these things. So it's like a, I don't know, 2-ton crimper. It's a hydraulic thing, and you put the right die in and it just smashes it right down to the right size. My dad gave me that. My dad's a mechanic. I think it's a battery tester. Never used it. Here's an alternator. Engraver. And then these are all the crimpers for the ferrules, wire strippers, and I think that's for doing your RJ45 cables. Tap and die set. That's the nutset gun. It's a bearing puller. You just used that the other day to pull the steering wheel off the Toronto, so you don't whack, put all your might into it and whack yourself in the head. That's pretty handy. You don't use it often, but it's good to have. Tyre spoons. That's handy for if you ever change the tyres on one of them. You need like 4 pairs of hands and probably 3 sets of those tyre spoons, and probably about 10 beers, because that is a pain in the ass changing tyres on that thing. Tyres are so small, so tight. And that's all the drills. What else is there? Hot glue gun, heat gun, another bearing puller, a little screwdriver, a couple of drills, and the mother of all soldering irons. This is pretty handy for doing like big battery terminals. It's 500 watt. Plug it in. Takes about 15 minutes to heat up, but once it's hot, it takes about 3 days to cool down. So you really got to watch it, but it'll melt anything. You'll solder whatever size wire you want. And yeah, that's about it. So they're the toolboxes. Might as well have a look up here. What do we got? Oh, this thing's pretty cool. Got that the other day. It's another Azito thing for sharpening drill bit batteries. It's just a spare laptop. This thing, I've lost the, it's got a bottle thing. You can put whatever you want in it, turn it on, and it just pumps out like a mist. Handy for tyre dressing, or when you're dressing up the, what's the name, the engine bay. You can put a bit of tyre dressing watered down and just spray it over the engine bay. And that way you're not drowning it too much. If you guys are from Australia, I suppose the Americans have got it too. That's pretty handy for summer nights. Get all the mozzies. But the mozzies we got over here are bloody massive. So that's a That's a industrial grade, take a horse down kind of one. That's a cool one. This thing's pretty cool. We used to have a big wood-fired pizza oven, but just got rusted and fell over in the wind, so got rid of it and got one of them. It's got a little flue that goes up the top, and you just use. I've got a smoker as well, and it just uses the same pellets as the smoker, and pumps out pizzas really nice. Spare toolbox, got like a little drill press stand. Ultrasonic cleaner. That oven is a 60 litre plug-in oven, I think it is, and it's for powder coating, so I've got a little powder coat set up, so that's pretty handy. Just some Christmas lights. That toolbox is empty, they're all empty. What's that? House paint, top left. It's just paintbrushes, rollers, masking tape, bit of stuff. Car cleaning, just spare microfibers and polishing pads and things like that. Oh sorry, no, that's car cleaning, can't remember. Anyway, there's a heap of microfibers too in there. And car parts, I think just some parts from the Tirana. That's all. I used to make homebrew beer, so that's all the fermenters and stuff for that. And that is a pretty handy little washing machine. Just plug it in and put some water in it, and off you go. I just use it for cleaning dirty rags and stuff, so I don't have to bring them in the house and stuff up the washing machine in there. And then that's a cool little plane. Got that from AliExpress. That was only about 60-80 bucks or something without the electronics, but I already had all the electronics here for it. Flies pretty good, pretty sturdy, but I think the rudder's broken because I hit the rudder when I was trying to hover it, so that's broken. And that Cessna 310, I haven't flown it. I've had it for about 5 years and never flown it, but it's probably 99% done. Just hasn't got the stickers on it and a few other little finishing touches, but that's ready to go. But kind of lost interest in it. That glider, that's upside down there. That's probably the plane I've had the longest, and flies really well. It's about a 2.5 metre wingspan. It's like a yacht pretty much. You put it up and it'll stay up for ages if you can find a couple thermals. It's got a variometer in it too, so you can hear if you're going up or down on the transmitter while you're flying it. This thing's alright. Another cheap plane from AliExpress, but flies alright, but it's mainly just for doing tricks. It doesn't fly straight very well. And then this thing, it's like a really lightweight, I think all up with battery, weighs 400 grams. Weighs nothing, and the wings are just carbon Kevlar wings. I think it's about a 1.4 metre wingspan, but yeah, any type of wind you can't fly it in. So Perth is pretty much, I've probably only flown it 4 times because it's always windy in Perth. Got a little aircon there, so that's handy in summer when it gets warm in here. I've got the roofs. The roof is insulated, as you can see there, but not the walls. But yeah, that makes a big difference, just having the roof insulated. Little sink, hot and cold water, and I've also got, I used to have my computer with a 3D printer in here, so got Ethernet running direct straight to the modem that's in the garage. Pops out just down there on the left, and the big white conduit is the power that runs up to the board there. And that's the water in that other one with that foam running along there, hot and cold water there. So yeah, that's pretty handy having all that kind of stuff in the shed, but you got to kind of plan for it and do all that. You can't just start digging up concrete. So that all got done before the concrete got poured. Yeah, so handy as. We've got the pegboard, which, like I said, is pretty much empty because I've put everything in those toolboxes, so that we, you know, if you're doing something in the car, down in the garage, you just take those 2 toolboxes with you, and you've got everything you need pretty much, unless you need some little obscure part from in there or something in there. That's all Tirana parts. Just some leftover stuff down there, nothing important. There's that multimeter that's broken. The wheels off the Tirana, I just put swivel wheels, so all the wheels are swivel. Still bits and pieces in there, nothing too important. Yeah, that's that box there. It's got all the receipts for my Tirana since 2000, about 2000, and I've not worked up the courage to go through it and add it all up. So that's not happening, but good to have. never sell the car, so it doesn't really matter, but yeah. There's more storage up there. A few of them are empty. That's just got remote control plane stuff in it, e-scooter stuff, cleaning the e-scooter. I used to have an e-bike as well, but that's gone. But that's got stuff to clean, to fix the scooter as well, tyre repair and stuff like that. Laser engraver, don't use it often, but handy tool to have. It's just a little one, it's not massive. And dog stuff, because I groom not groom them, wouldn't call myself a groomer, but that's the bath I made for them. So that way, used to do it in the shower and just get in the shower with them, and but you'd get soaked, your clothes would get soaked and really hard on the back. So that's just a garden bed from Bunnings. Bit of pipe to make it higher. It's nice and high, so I don't have to bend over because I've got a pretty crook back. And then I don't know, I think it's a baking tray or like a cooling off tray from Big Dub or something, and then a mat for them to stand on, and that way they're not standing in the water, and then it just filters out that hose and straight into the drain there. And yeah, super easy. It's like 10 minutes to wash both of those little monkeys over there. They're wondering what's going on in the Superman pose. Alfie, good boys. Get a bath on the weekend. We're taking them to some cafe tomorrow, and they're mini schnauzers, and apparently it's a mini schnauzer only day, so there'll be maybe 100 mini schnauzers. Hopefully we get the right ones back, or maybe not. Might be good to get someone else's back, a bit better, well behaved. That's another little bench that I made just for, I made it for welding, but I use it for everything really. But yeah, that's pretty, it's all metal. Just take the carpet off and it's all metal. Got the grinder bolted to it and a vise bolted to it, and it's got all the bits and pieces you need under there for welding. That's just another shelf. More storage up there. Used to have RC boats as well, so there's a bit of spares for that, a bit of piping and stuff. Bits and bobs, I can't remember, I think that's propellers and things. And I just got spare wire and spare lights and stuff like that, and a bit of stuff for the garden over there. Nice little fan. That Google speaker, that never works because it's too far away from the modem. And then I've also got this this compressor, she's a bit of a beast, this one. Goes right, that's just from Bunnings as well. When I bought that, they only had that version with the 4-cylinder version. But now they've got the same, I think it's the same size, and only 2. So the free air delivery is a little bit down, but it's still got the same storage, and it's quiet as there's real quiet motors. So they're pretty handy. And then that's plumbed. If you follow that blue one, I think it's the blue one, yeah. So the blue one goes up, up, up. On the roof there, you can see it there, and then it comes down and feeds that reel there. So that's just for doing stuff in the shed here. And then the black pipe goes up over, oh no, hang on, over there, and goes out of the shed and runs down to the garage. And then I've got solid pipe on the side of the house and in the garage. Got the solid, it's not just PVC, it's a proper, I think it's polyethylene or something with the joins and all that stuff. And yeah, that runs all around the garage as well, so that way you don't have to put up with the noise, or there's not a lot of room in that garage. It's really only for 2 cars, so yeah, it keeps it all out. I made that. I used to go to car shows a bit with a Tirana, and got sick and tired of explaining to everyone what's in it and all the business. I don't think anything's changed. It's got apart from the Holly 750 double pumper, that's gone. So it's got the MS, the Holly Sniper, Holly Sniper EFI. Nah, everything else is the same. The Muncie 4-speed was one from 1968 that blew up, so I put in brand spanking new one off a guy in Florida that makes them brand new. So it's a brand new, but it's a Muncie 4-speed in there. 9-inch. Yeah, brakes are the same. Wheels and tyres are all the same. Yep. And it's got a screen. It's got one of those things you put a USB in, and I've got a whole heap of pictures that just run. You know, so you can see the original car, and then at the paint shop, and then getting the engine built, and yeah, it's pretty cool. And then you see the finished product at the end, and then it just starts again. In here, what have we got in here? Can almost get rid of this. It's pretty empty. There's another socket set up there, and then all your chargers. Tripod for that Bosch level thing, and oh, they're the that's the center. You have it on your helmet, so when you're riding a scooter, because I go with a few mates, so we can all talk to each other when we're running away from the cops. Electronic weed sprayer, that's pretty handy. Just fill it up, it's like 16 litres, and then turn it on and press a button and off you go. A bit of fishing gear, I used to fish a little bit. That box down there is the cardboard box, is all the powder coating gear, and then that's just a heap of wires and spare transformers for anything. That's about it really. And then out here you got a decent little, that's where I do all the messy stuff out here, and that's all concrete, same as a shed, and then all covered, got a nice little light, and that's about it. And then there's another shed down there, which I just enclosed. There was just a bit of space at the end of this shed, so it's the width of the shed, and I don't know, 1.8, 2 metres wide, something like that. And that's got my little sandblaster in it, and then it's got a bit of stuff for the garden and just the messy stuff that I don't want in here, fuel for the blower and things like that. So yeah, it's a compact shed, but it's got everything I need in it, so serves me well. Heaps of room. I mean, you still got, it's probably 2 metres space between the toolboxes and that bench there. So you got heaps of runway. And like I said, I could probably get rid of this thing and then have a bit more space. So yeah, that might be on the cards one day. So space is, I like space more than junk. So yeah, it's good. But that's about it. Used to have a fan up there, but it was absolutely useless. Just, you could put it on full speed and not hear anything, not feel any air. So got rid of that and put that one in. And if it gets way too hot or way too cold, then you whack that on and put it on aircon or whatever. And then that thing up there, that hole, is just a nice little vent, and then it feeds to a that fan. I probably won't be able to do it one-handed. I know. Hey, there she goes. It's solar powered, so it's got a solar panel on the roof on the outside, and then I've just run it down to there. There she goes, and it actually makes a big difference. I've only just put it in. We've only had a couple warmish days, and it makes a big difference. You come in here and it's actually cooler than, it feels like the aircon's on, just drawing in the cool air, and yeah, a bit of just changing over the air. You don't get that stale air feeling in here, so yeah, it's not too bad. But that's about it. One more look. Probably do another video on the scooter one day. Haven't really haven't touched that for a while. Like I said, with the current laws in Perth at the moment, coppers just take them off you and crush them. No warning, nothing. So yeah, don't want to risk that. It's a bit expensive. So yeah, I used to ride it to work every day, and I've got about 3,500, almost 4,000 k's on it. So heaps of use. It's in good nick. But yeah, probably be selling that soon. Had enough of it. Well, no, I'd still like to ride it, but had enough of the negative publicity that goes along with it. So yeah, but that's about it. There's a few more tools and stuff down there. Nothing really important. Charging case for the remote control planes, and yeah, a bit of this, bit of that, and then all your hand tools. So yeah. Anyway, we'll see you in the next video.